Hi, everybody. So this is the verb. The verb? Goodness me, this is not the verb. This is the video. How awful was that? That wasn't a great start. Let me just do that. Okay. This video is all about how you can get straight on with improving your final piece of writing, your final letter, your shipwreck letter. So we're looking at the revising element here, okay? Which is how can I improve the modal verbs, rhetorical questions, emotive verbs, emotive adjectives, and paragraphs I have written. There could be other things in there. For example, it might be just you generally thinking about the way that your sentences are. You might want to include more clauses. That's what you might look at. But this is really about identifying how you can improve your own writing. So let's just have a quick look at that. I'm going to come out of this. I'm going to show you an example of my writing here. So as you can see, some of you may recognize this, but actually, this is the first draft that I wrote of my letter, or of Roderick's letter, if you will. So let's have a go at this and let's see how we can improve it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through it. Dear Sir, firstly, thank you. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm thinking, firstly, thank you. I think there could be more to it than that. So I'm actually going to add, firstly, I can't thank you enough. And the reason I'm adding that is because I can't thank you enough. And I'm going to get rid of the thank you part here. And I'm actually going to make it an exclamation mark because I think that sounds much more powerful in terms of it's much more persuasive. I'd feel really happy to receive something or like that, or for that to be said to me. So let's carry on reading. The very act of reading this letter is an act beyond kindness itself. To have someone else read the words I have spoken to myself thousands of times is beyond my wildest dreams. Now, actually, even though that is a fantastic piece of writing, in my opinion, I think I'm going to add a little bit extra to, again, just add that sort of, how can I say, pathos, would it be? Or ethos, trying to get them to trust me. So I'm going to add in here, even though I've spoken to myself thousands of times, and I'm going to add in here, no, millions of times. Okay, to really get it across just how much I've been talking to myself is beyond my wildest dreams. Now, I'll read that back to myself. I have spoken to myself thousands of times, no, millions of times, is beyond my wildest dreams. Okay. My name is Roderick Ballstone, and I was, in a previous life, the boatswain of His Majesty's frigate Dragon Sword. So far, those really aren't rhetorical questions. They're not really modal verbs. They're not emotive verbs or emotive adjectives. They're just language that I think would improve the actual quality of my persuasion. So let's move on to the second paragraph. Paragraph, should I say. I have been shipwrecked on this island for nearly 11 months. Now, after my ship was wrecked in a storm 3 days out of Port Royal, I was carried for 4 days and nights to this place. Now, I'm going to use this time, I am going to add an expanded noun phrase, and I'm going to actually add an emotive, I think it's a little bit of emotive, adjective, and that is I'm going to put 4 long days and nights to this place. Now, the reason I put long in, because it gives the idea of just how hard this journey was for me and how difficult, and therefore it'll persuade, hopefully, the reader to even think even more kindly and want to come and rescue me even more. So let's move on. The rock I have come to call home is no great area in size. Now, rock, that's the noun. I think I could add an emotive, a really emotive piece of language. And actually, now I'm thinking about rock, I also think I could add one here. I was carried for 4 long days and nights to this place. I'm going to include terrible, okay? Because I think that's a really emotive adjective that really describes the place as being awful. Now, okay, I'm also going to add here and I'm going to include maybe another adjective, which is emotive, the wretched rock. So terrible place, wretched rock. People really don't want to leave me on this place. Come on, rescue me. Who wouldn't after I've written this? Okay, let's carry on. I guess the island is no longer than 4 miles from end to end. There are no hills, meadows, or grasses. Only sandy ground where seabirds bicker and argue amongst each other. Now, I think only. I'm going to put only flat And again, I'm using an emotive adjective, only flat, sandy ground. And the reason I'm using flat is because I think it gives the idea of it just being like almost like a desert that goes on forever. Where seabirds, and I'm going to put constantly, I'm using an adverb here because it's like happening all the time and the noise is just incredible and it gives the idea that I've got no rest from it. Okay, let's move on. I have made my home in the north end of this cursed isle. I have woven a cramped home where I spend most of my time, hiding from the blistering heat. The filthy hovel is made from the sea refuse, rubbish that is, which I've managed to scavenge from the accursed sea. All good. I like all of this. How many times have I stood in the middle of that long curved beach and screamed at Ray at that vengeful ocean? I like that. Why did I deserve to be starved and robbed of water? I actually think here we could add another rhetorical question, and I think I'm going to add something along the lines of why. So, if you think about it, I'm thinking about the ocean and how vengeful it is. I'm going to add something to this point. How many times have I stood in the middle of that long curved beach and screamed in rage at that vengeful ocean? Now, why did it? Why did it strand? Why did it strand me on this island? Why did it strand? That means maroon me. Strand me on this island? There you go, question mark. Great. Okay, so you've seen how I've done it. Okay, I've done rhetorical questions, I've done emotive adjectives, I've also done other things outside of that which I just think need to be improved. Have a go yourself. You don't have to do too many if you don't feel it needs too much adding, but think carefully about where you might add one of those areas or where you might improve something, particularly the emotive adjectives. Okay, I think that's a difficult one, and even more so the emotive verbs. Okay, I think those are where you could really improve potentially. Anyway, good luck with this. Thank you very much indeed.